Jared Kushner was born but a simple rich boy to Charles and Cyril Kushner. Charles was a New Jersey real estate developer and the son of immigrants. He was also one of the top Democratic Party donors in the country. Jared would follow suit, making the maximum allowed donation to Senator Frank Lautenberg when Jared was just 11 years old. That's a lot of lemonade money. Charles also donated to institutions of higher education, like a $2.5 million donation to Harvard University. Jared would be accepted there a short time later. What a coincidence. But Jared's acceptance may have cost more than just a large sum of money. Senator Ted Kennedy allegedly called Harvard's admissions staff to demand Kushner's acceptance. Kennedy had allegedly been asked to do this by Senator Frank Lautenberg of New Jersey, who received $100,000 in campaign donations from Charles beyond Jared's donation. The book, The Price of Admission, How America's Ruling Class Buys Its Way into Elite Colleges, cites an official from Jared's high school who claims his test scores were not Ivy League standard. A former classmate wrote in The New Yorker, "On a campus full of t-shirts and cargo shorts, he wore dress shirts and jeans from the then trendy label 7 for All Mankind, and he drove a Range Rover around campus." He quotes another classmate, "He didn't do it with a sense of humor, he did it like, I'm fucking rich."
There's nothing too obnoxious that you can ask for right now.
While Kushner was at Harvard, his father would send him real estate documents from their company. Jared would end up buying apartments in nearby Somerville with $10 million of his father's money. When he graduated, he'd sell them for a handsome profit. Kushner went on to graduate school at NYU. He was admitted just months after his father rented office space to the university. An NYU official said of that agreement, "The university was the recipient of a wonderful gift as part of this transaction, and NYU is most grateful to Mr. Kushner." But Charles Kushner's biggest move to give his son Jared power would come by accident. Under a plea deal, Charles admitted to paying a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, videotaping it, and showing the tape to his sister. It came in the midst of an investigation into criminality of Charles's campaign contributions. His brother-in-law and sister were supposedly cooperating with investigators in that matter, and the prostitute tape was considered revenge.
These charges are entirely without merit. He will be completely exonerated.
In the end of it all, Charles Kushner pled guilty to tax evasion, witness tampering, and illegal campaign donations. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. The U.S. attorney who put Kushner behind bars? Chris Christie. With his father in prison, Jared would watch over his empire. The Kushner Company sold $1.9 billion in real estate immediately before the housing collapse of 2008. Kushner would work on buying up distressed properties in Maryland and the Rust Belt to turn them into higher-ending housing. Kushner would say, "It was a lot of construction and a lot of evictions, but the communities now look great, and the outcome has been phenomenal." He moved the company towards some other big purchases, including the largest single-building purchase ever, 666 Fifth Avenue. He loved the real estate business, maybe too much. He told Portfolio magazine that real estate is like porn, for rich people. He'd also buy a newspaper, the New York Observer. "I found the paper unbearable to read. It was like homework." And then he said, "I own the New York Observer," but more on that later. Around that time, another infamous New York real estate developer would tell Howard Stern that his daughter Ivanka was dating a very rich guy. Not as rich as me, but a very rich guy from a real estate family.
Jared is a very successful real estate person, but I actually think he likes politics more than he likes real estate. I'm going to tell you.
When two of the biggest real estate socialites might be dating, the gossip world takes notice. Here are a few Gawker headlines from 2007 and 2008. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, just friends. Why did Ivanka and Jared break up? Do the Trumps and Kushners hate each other? Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner totally get to do it now. The empires wed, but not until Ivanka converted to Judaism. Donald Trump, father of the bride, used the wedding invitations to advertise his golf courses. Meanwhile, Jared's newspaper, the New York Observer, wasn't doing very well. Beloved editors were pushed out, and some alleged he was using it to take on personal vendettas, like when he supposedly demanded an editor do a takedown on a paper that covered his father's crimes. The Observer, formerly irreverent, intellectual, and liberal, began publishing staff editorials like, "Cut taxes, stop flight. Excuse me, higher taxes won't work," and "Dear Occupy Wall Street, it's time to go home." In a period where his father-in-law, Donald Trump, was pushing racist conspiracy theories about the birthplace of President Barack Obama,
if he weren't lying, why wouldn't he just solve it?
The paper only published positive coverage of the real estate magnate. Very odd for a paper that notoriously ridiculed the New York elite. Kushner got close with Rupert Murdoch in a parasitic symbiotic relationship. Murdoch's New York Post killed a story linking Jared's father to a famous prostitution ring, and Kushner's Observer wrote glowing pieces on Murdoch. Kushner juggled media and real estate empires for a few years, and it wasn't going too great. He was hemorrhaging money on 666 Fifth Avenue. He allegedly harassed rent-stabilized tenants trying to force them to move. His newspaper was floundering, and some said his felon father was still secretly running the business. Kushner needed redemption. But then his father-in-law decided to run for president. Being a Republican became convenient, and Kushner's history of donating to Democratic candidates, including $6,000 to Hillary Clinton and $10,000 to Democrats as recently as 2014, would come to a close. Jared joined his father-in-law's campaign and would become an integral part of many top decisions.
And he's very good at politics.
Kushner would advise Trump on Israel, help him vet his running mates, and manage the team. The Observer endorsed Trump for the Republican nomination. Trump would allegedly bring Kushner in on phone calls and then not tell the other person Kushner was on the line. Kushner allegedly helped push out Corey Lewandowski. When Donald Trump tweeted a picture of Hillary Clinton next to a big pile of money and sheriff stars, Kushner defended Trump and denounced an Observer writer who criticized him.
You are fake news.
Kushner was a silent but powerful force throughout the election. And then Trump won. Kushner would be important to the transition team and named senior advisor to the Trump White House. And it's been working out for him. Remember that failing office building? Kushner negotiated a deal with a Chinese firm, allegedly linked to the Chinese government, to buy a large portion of it, while he was responsible for the Trump team's negotiations with China. All that from just a simple little rich kid.